As he enters his 19th season in NASCAR's Cup Series, Denny Hamlin has gone from Rookie of the Year to one of the most respected voices in the garage, even if the fans may beg to differ. And he's partners with the most famous basketball player on earth. The Chesterfield native gave us a few minutes to talk about his career, his podcast, and what it's like to have Michael Jordan on speed dial. Is anything about Michael's commitment to the team and the sport, has any part of that surprised you at all?
I mean, I knew he was a big fan of the sport for a long time. I linked up with it as a Jordan Brand athlete probably back in 2009 or 10. So, 13, 14 years I've been with him in a partnership in some way. And he was always quizzing me on questions about the race, even when he was not a team owner. So I knew that he had fandom towards the sport. But, last year showing up to like 7 or 8 of the playoff races was, that's big for our team, to know the drivers, know who they're driving for is right there on pit lane supporting them. That goes a long way.
In the Netflix thing, you said when you approached him about forming a team, you said, I just took my shot. Now, when he said yes, what was, did your jaw hit the floor or?
It did, actually. I remember exactly where I was. I was golfing, and I was on the 9th hole on my second shot, and I ended up leaving the ball in the fairway because I got so scatterbrained. I just drove up to the green, and I did not. My friends were like, hey, you didn't hit your ball. And I'm like, yeah, but I got a text back saying, if you want a partner, let me know.
I beat your favorite driver.
And who would that be?
All of them.
See, because it's over, Hogan. I know it, you know it, everybody knows it.
That had a little Bobby the Brain Heenan to it. Was that planned? Did you have that in the back of your head? Was that completely spontaneous?
No, it was spontaneous for sure in that moment, simply because of the crowd. I was just feeding off of the crowd. My rivalry with the fans has been actually a pretty friendly one. The ones that the fans I interact with on this side of the fence, so they have pit passes, garage passes. It's been very, very respectful. But when they're on the other side of the fence talking mess, I'm on the other side of the fence talking mess as well.
Hats off to NASCAR, Fox, and the stakeholders that got together and made this happen.
But the podcast gives you a certain stature in the garage. How does that change the way you interact with the higher ups at NASCAR, maybe with the way you interact with officials at the track?
I had to sit down with, upper management of NASCAR, and I said, listen, this is my podcast, and there's 80% of the time I'm going to be pretty positive about what's going on, but my job is to be, subjective and obviously objective about what I see. And I believe that the fans tune in because they know they're going to get an honest opinion, and you're going to have to deal with the 20% that's negative. And we both came out of that conversation, and they conceded to the fact that the sport is better with your podcast. Tens of thousands of people that listen to that every single week. We're talking to the core fan that is tuning into their races each and every week.
A lot of your contemporaries have gotten out of the car. Why are you still doing this?
Man, because I'm still competitive at it. I think that, the moment I feel like I can't win at every track, I'll probably get out whenever that might be. But I just feel like I'm still on top of things. I can still run fast lap times and practice qualifying in the race. Like, I just feel as though I keep getting better.
If you already had a championship, do you think you'd still be driving?
I think I definitely would be, simply because my personal goals is to get to 60 wins. If I can get to 61, then I could be ahead of Harvick. That puts you in the top 10 of all time. And I just think that that's a goal that we can talk about championships, but there's been champions with 12 wins total. Right. And so I just would rather get in the upper echelon of race winners in NASCAR and I feel like that stat will mean more than this one in this column.
Hamlin has the most wins of any driver who has not won a championship. He needs 3 to pass Lee Petty on the all-time list. Another Daytona 500 victory will put him in a group with just Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough of drivers to win at least 4. If you'd like to nominate someone for us to profile, just email us at beyondtheroster@WTVR.com.